Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be continuing the goal series that we've been doing, and I've got my sticker sheet here as well as a stencil, a friction pen, and these sticker books from which I pulled. Okay, so to begin, we will be setting up a milestone task list. So if you've been following the series, you'll know that we've been kind of going step by step through goal setting, starting with your vision board, then moving on to creating a project for an individual goal, and then breaking it down a step further into either a habit or a time block in a schedule so that you can tackle it. And then now what we're going to do is just create tasks to go with those project-based goals. So to begin, I'm cutting up this sheet of classic size paper so that I can fold it in half and also keep it inside of my disc bound rings. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I want to divide this up into 4 parts for 4 different milestones, and I also want to make it as portable in my planner as possible. So while I'm working on this goal, I basically either want to have this in my weekly view, like in the middle of my week, so it's constantly there every time I look at my planner, or if it's a little bit longer goal that you're working towards, you could put it in your monthly if you look at your monthly spread more frequently. But you just want to have it in a place where you're going to see it often, and I like the idea of having it in a half sheet so it doesn't cover your whole spread, so you could focus on one milestone at a time. That's how I'm setting it up here. I'm resetting the top half to put in just, some small decorations, but the meat and potatoes of this is going to be there in the lines. We're going to put the main milestone and then individual tasks needed to complete that milestone till the end. Right now I'm just setting up some decor just to make it pretty, and I'm doing it pretty methodically right now. I'm making it so that when the sheet is folded in half, that the happy plans is there front and center when it's folded with it on the inside. So we're looking at the back right now of our sheet. That will also come into play when we actually label the steps of milestones that you're going to tackle. We have 4 on this sheet, so you want to make sure you're going in a specific order. And the way I have it set up are the 2 inside will be 1 and 2. And then when you go to the back, it's going to be 4 and 3. So the last thing you're going to look at is your last milestone or your 4th milestone. This works out pretty well for the way that I've set up my projects because I have 4 to 5 milestones per project, and there were a few that could be combined into one. They were just kind of smaller steps that could easily be combined into one task list under a certain milestone. So this worked out really well for me. If you have a project that has multiple milestones that just might be too big for this kind of decorative version of a tracker, feel free to just do an actual half sheet and just use one side per milestone. So you can do multiple half sheets, or you could do like one full sheet, divide it in half, and then add another full sheet, and just do whatever you need to do to see your goal through to completion using the milestones that you foresee needing to hit for your goal. And if any of this doesn't sound familiar to you, I recommend going back to the project building page that we did for the project-based goals. I'll put a link up here at the top so you can get back to that if you are interested in learning more about this whole goal setting process. It will make a little bit more sense to you if this isn't making sense to you now as far as how you're going to break up your goals. Down below, I'm kind of creating an area where I can keep track of the time it will take and the actual work dates based off of the project page. I'll have a space for how many hours I estimate it's going to take, and then from there the boxes that are below that will be where I house the actual dates that encompasses the hours that I've estimated. For example, if let's say I estimated 10 hours and I know I can commit 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, that should be a week's time that I will need to get from start to finish in that milestone. That's what I'll be putting down there at the bottom, and then I'll also be putting in some information on habit tracking and just being accountable. But for now, what I'm doing is matching up the checklist area on each side of the page. So as we divide it in half, I'm basically mirroring the circles that are on one side of the page on the other, so I can check off the side of the page when it is folded in half as its own individual milestone that I'm trying to complete. So I'm just trying to mirror the page, and I have a gray pen that kind of works pretty well because there's gray circles there on this sheet. But again, you don't have to do what I'm doing. If you have a basic lined piece of paper, you can just do regular check boxes, but you do want to have something that you can make a list from and check it off, whether it's a checkbox or if you prefer to do more of a cross off, if you like that better, but some way for you to keep track of where you are in your project and when you've accomplished your tasks. So I pulled out my project page for the goal I'm going to be talking about today, which is to create an online portfolio. This has been a goal of mine for a number of years. I've had a really hard time sitting down and really getting it done. So I'm setting this up to make it as easy as possible for me and just make it visually appealing while being useful, so that I will look at it and not just, tuck it away somewhere and forget about it. I want it to be as visually exciting to look at as possible, so I will want to look at it and remind myself, yes, I need to start working on this goal. So right now I'm starting by tackling one of my first milestones, developing the branding for my portfolio site. And then from that, I'm listing out the individual steps, like the literal individual steps I will need to take to tackle this milestone. So choosing a brand name, designing a logo, choosing the fonts and the colors, developing a brand board. Those are actual things that I can be like, done, 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 until I get down the list and I feel like, yes, I've done all of the steps it takes to do that. So I've numbered each half of the page, showing you kind of the step list like I was discussing before. So 1, 2, and then it will go on the back 4, 3, because when it's folded in half, you'll see 4 first. And there's a reasoning behind that, because I want to put my final due date on that 4th step, that very last step. But that's not that important. If your project goes beyond 4 or 5 milestones, feel free to make it work for you. Just make it visually appealing. This is what I felt will work for me personally. So a couple of other milestones that I have there, I'm writing in, creating mock-ups. I'm also putting in the amount of time for each of those. When we get to the back, you'll see that I've combined a couple of those milestones to make it into 4, but again, if you have more than 4, it's no big deal. You just kind of set it up a little different and make it work for you. So one of the longest milestones in my project is creating mock-ups. I estimate it's going to take me 100 hours, which by the time that I can commit to it, which is about 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, it's going to take me approximately 10 weeks by that math. So I'm setting up a habit tracker here. I did one on the opposite side for the branding, which would take me about 2 weeks. A little bit simpler, a little bit bigger, but on this side I'm going to need quite a bit more room. So I had to move one of the stickers over so that I could accommodate this spreadsheet, and I'm also tightening things up a bit. I'm including all 7 days if I miss a day during the week. There's a chance that I might be working on, a Sunday. I just want to make sure that I'm getting 5 out of 7 days every week, and I'm putting in the time that I want to commit to this to make it happen. I'm not actually putting in the week dates yet because I haven't set a time frame for when I'm going to work on it. I have another goal I'm working on now, but I believe in the beginning of the year is when I'll have the time to start tackling it. So that's when I'll pull this out and actually put firm dates to each of these and write those in the boxes below the hours. So that's where I'll be putting in whether it's January 1st to the 5th or whatever. That's it, you guys. So it's just a basic way for you to keep this in mind and get your goals accomplished step by step. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up down below. Go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch. And think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Bye.